people, the people, your people, Nadon people. They are something we so often overlook. We think of the kingdoms that run them as entities of their own, but the world is more complicated than this. The human aspects that allow us to move from the day-to-day is something history so often forgets. Your child playing in the courtyard, laughing and smiling with joy on his face. Your mom and dad that tucked you in and told you everything was going to be okay when you were sick. These intimate moments known to us as life, your life. It's known to others as a way of life, culture, and known to those in the future where these intimate moments have been stripped away and forgotten. History. That is what we are here to discuss. The moments forgotten, all but to the ones who lived it. Welcome to our telling of a new story of history known only as Istorina. The Nadon people and its cultural origin started in a village which had no name, or at the very least its name had long been lost. They were a quaint people, small and humble, neither had the resources nor desire for conquest and war. That is until their beloved god, Riv, fell from the skies and revolutionized their way of thinking and place among all things. He introduced agriculture, advanced trade. He challenged them to become more, spread their ideology across the entire Mote region. That's the story we all know. But let's go ahead and dig a little deeper. The subgroups of the Nadon people are numerous. Each region has its own unique flavors and variety. And as of the year 101 NC, there were 4 groups which made up 80% of the population. We will only be talking about 3, as the 4th is the Western Lakes, and they deserve a dedicated look into their own society. The first group being the Navni, represent the core lands and largest contingent. They are the original descendants from the city of Capital, and before the time of Riv, some 3,000 years ago, bronze working and complex trade in the region did not exist. It's said that Riv's punishment for his betrayal to Yahero was to serve the Nadon people and spread their prosper across the known world. In their conquest, they assimilated many groups, but only few remained to any large degree. One such group, the Majan. They are the ancient descendants of the kingdom and city of Mayutan, later renamed Mayan. Many of their habits and traditions have either been lost or incorporated into the larger Nadon culture. A few things are known though. Most societal standards, putting others before themselves, originated from the Majan people. One way to really know if you're talking to a Majan is their name. Majans have no last name. People such as May, which is the most popular name in the region, Val, and Lu all originated from Mayan. People with hyphens in their name, such as the Mir family, Timir, Atmir, and so on, are also from Mayan. They wanted to keep their heritage, but still wish to adopt more of the Navni naming convention. The Majan are so integrated into Nadon culture that, unless I say otherwise, whenever I say Navni, just assume I also mean the Majan as well. The last major group we'll discuss before moving on are the Zenji. In many ways, they're similar to the core Navni culture, but being outside the core lands of Orun and having to fend for themselves, the superiority complex that the Navni so highly admire was not able to remain unchallenged. Harsher conditions, mingling with local cultures. they begun to diverge for a more traditional path. Being humbled was their only chance for survival. And don't worry, when there's a difference in belief or tradition between the Navni and the Zenji, I'll tell you. The religion of the Nadon people is deeply ingrained in their culture. Why don't we start where it all began? How about where the world began? The Nadon people believed in the beginning the world was darkness, full of needless suffering and death. Two gods found each other in said darkness, however, and together they defeated it. Those gods being Yahero and Riv. They were the epitome of friendship. Their bond was said to last forever. Yahero started to realize that darkness always returned, so he created his divine ray of protection for the Nadon people against said darkness. He was beloved and cherished by his worshippers. This made Riv very jealous, and in this jealousy, he broke the divine ray. Once Yahero found out, an epic battle ensued, the shock waves nearly destroying the world, but in the end, Riv was defeated and forced to see the error of his ways. He was banished to the mortal realm and fell for 1,000 days and nights. Once among the Nadon people, he repented and begun spreading his knowledge and wisdom to the ones he most affected through his selfishness. Even here, you can begin to see the reasons why someone might rebel against a god. On its most fundamental levels, there's a difference in interpretation. Many people truly believe that Riv is here to serve a punishment, not live it up in the imperial palace dictating who lives or dies. On religious lines alone, Riv overthrowing the Lidor of Orun signified to many that the god Riv must have gone back to the world of the stars and left behind an empty shell of a man named Riv. By the year 48 NC, start of the Riften Civil War, a split of belief was long in motion. Many of the Navni people had already grown to hate Riv and saw him nothing more than a bloodthirsty man compared to the god he was before. Thus the split. The purists who believed Riv is still a god and cannot be defied, and the fulfillists who believe Riv has fulfilled his prophecy, welcomed back into the stars and left behind a single man in his place. That man being not right to rule. That man being Riv. You see, everything connects. It all plays a part. In their religion, paradise, the afterlife, is among the stars. After death, your soul wanders around the world, anywhere from a few days to years, taking care of unfinished business till he's ready. They would be guided to the stars by the deity Zivore, the paradise. In regards to deities and gods, among gods there are only two, Riv and Yahero. There are many lesser deities such as Yabovbi, deity of love, or Zivore, one who guides souls to the stars. But all bow before Riv and Yahero, even after Riv's fall from grace. In fact, this is so deeply ingrained in their culture that Riv and Yahero are seen as above mother and father within the family hierarchy, implying Riv and Yahero are family, someone you can trust. With the religious split, this destroyed communities. Thinking your neighbor is trying to kill someone more important than your own mom and dad? Heartbreaking. In regards to the values of the religion, it's simple. Do not love yourself. Do not seek self-interest. Instead, love others. Fulfill the interest of others, and in return your Bovbi will show you great love equal to no other. Expressing your praise and love to another as a person is the greatest compliment you can give to another soul. For example, giving a compliment to someone's life's work is great, don't get me wrong. Giving a compliment on someone's personality due to working on their life's work is the greatest thing you can give. The difference is immeasurable. Since we're already here, let's talk about, as with religion, where the core values were a lack of selfishness, the cultural values as a whole are an extension of that. In family hierarchy, as you know, Riv and Yahero are first and equal. Below them, though, is father, followed by mother. They are both head of the household, with their word being literal law. The rest of the hierarchy follows, as grandparents, son, daughters, pets, then slaves. Despite their being slaves, sons and daughters can be sold for political or capital gain. Grandparents are exempt from this, of course, but with this setup, your family is your property. Your father or mother has the legal right to kill, harm, or sell their own children, up until the moment they become adults. Even with mother being of somewhat equal standing, given an especially weak woman, even she could be sold or killed without any real qualms. Though it could be said an especially strong woman could do the same to her husband. Sorry about that. Speaking of women though, you may have noticed a surprisingly large amount of them in the public forum. This was not done without thought. Women in this society are expected to be strong, and the men even stronger. With such women, they're allowed to hold any position a man can, with one caveat. They're expected to take care of their family. A woman's role is her family first, her career second. Any issues with her kids, grandparents, or even her husband, if he's weak enough, can have a grand impact on her political career or business. The idea being, how can I trust this woman with my trade routes or produce if she can't even control her own children? With this mindset, women have to work 10 times harder to prove themselves in the political or professional field, all while maintaining her family. Sexist? That's the least of women's worries during this time. A perfect example of this is May. During her early career, her children were young and Merit's politically backed. She was able to rally the people to her side, winning battles and capturing land. At the age of 21, that's fucking fantastic. By the year 78 NC though, May's kids were becoming older, and they were affecting her political career. She was a brilliant politician, but her family was in disarray. As such, after conquering Ohun, her political backing quickly evaporated. She never would realize her life's dream of reuniting the Minsky region with the core lands. This is how deeply society expects women in the limelight to rise to the occasion. Not even May was above it all. This idea of a strong woman is present among all Nadon, but the Gen Z people, they have a more traditional role for women, and holding power on any official level would be near impossible for them. For all groups, the average romantic life of a man or woman were open in their early years. It was generally expected though for the parents to find a suitor for their children in their late life if their kids' choices were unfortunate. Men were expected to marry later in life, somewhere in their early 30s to 40s, to provide a healthy and safe living style for his wife and kids, while women were expected to marry between the ages of 13 to 23, 23 being considerably quite late. Of course, these numbers could become interchangeable, especially between aristocrats. Courting for most was definitely allowed and even encouraged. A woman's role in the courting process was simple. Do not show any physical interest. Touching, excessive smiling, laughter, or simply asking too many questions. If she was interested, she could show you. Sometimes without even uttering a word. Things like body language, tense eye contact, politeness towards your mannerisms, and simply not walking away. Anything more than this, in public or before marriage, and she would be considered a tramp, a whore. It's quite the unique interaction for a man and a woman. How are men supposed to know with so little signs? They're expected to be somewhat forceful. Rape and physical assault is of course illegal. Nobody wants their loved ones to be attacked, but knowing the balance between crime and love is the equivalent of having mojo, baby. Public displays of affection is for merits. For a woman to compliment a man's personality would be somewhat flirtatious. After marriage, however, it is the duty of the man and woman to constantly show displays of love for their family and each other. Marriage is a family's personal ray of protection from your hero, a blessing from the god, which is why happiness is so emphasized. Your hero has blessed you. Show your love. Your love should blind out others, even uncomfortably if need be. This at least shows your protection has worked. Your hero has blessed you. Your wife, husband, sons, and daughters, they're in good hands. They're safe. Of course, the opposite is equally as extreme. Lack of affection, or your hell forbid, a public disagreement, negative comments, arguments. These are dead signs your protection, your ray of luck, didn't work. Such discussions, vile ones they are best left for private, among loved ones. Within their society, you help one another. You are expected to live up to the desires of your higher-ups, your community. That is what a good member does. Lives for others. Lives for the tribe. The Nadon have an interesting view of others. Despite everything I've mentioned thus far, they're quite advanced. Bronze working, complex societal institutions leagues ahead of anyone else. A literal god among their ranks. You might forgive them for letting their heads swell with self-importance. A deeply ingrained superiority over other cultures is normal among them. The Zinji being of a lesser degree, but still quite prevalent. Many wars have been justified and fought through this belief. Liberators, they claim, instead of conquerors. The Navni have the resources to back it up, while the Zinji, ever humbled and ever divided, take on a more equal approach. One thing about the Zinji that I have to clarify before moving forward. They were officially under Orun rule. For all intents and purposes, however, anything past the Twin Gates was effectively a vassal state, if not openly proclaiming independence. The lands west of Twin Gates were never officially conquered, they were simply proclaimed. And that proclamation causing thousands of bodies. If you're counting from 101 NC, this disconnect has lasted some 400 years. This act, known as the Lidor Levy, left a major divide into the society among attitude, thinking, and lifestyle. It's one of the main reasons why there is the Zinji and the Navni. The values of the Nadon people are reflected in every aspect of their society. They love their holidays and traditions. On a societal level, there are two main holidays that all groups within the Nadon culture celebrate on some level. First is the Day of Broken Protection, or Sakina Day. Celebrated around late fall, it serves as a reminder that their divine protection was broken by Riv. In all acts he does is an atonement for that. The Zinji celebrate this as well, but more of a focus on your hero's role than Riv's. The other societal holiday is Navski Day, not to be confused with Navni, celebrated mainly by the core Navni people. It marks the beginning of the yearly Nadon calendar. It's a remembrance of the day Riv finally came to the world, blessing the Nadon people with his prosperity. Even after the Rivsen Civil War, most of the Navni people still celebrate this day, as no man fought to replace a god, but to remove a man who no longer was one. On a more personal level, there are two main events commonly celebrated: the celebration of adulthood and celebration of wealth. We'll start with the first. This topic may be presumptuous for the faint of heart. There are two kinds of versions in their culture. One as a child and another as an adult. The celebration of adulthood is when a boy and a girl between the ages of 13 and 16 become intimate with one another for the first time. This shows the community that they're no longer children and are to be treated as adults. This is when you lose your childhood chastity and innocence. Now, renewed as an adult, seen as still untouched and ready for marriage. Once boys and girls, now men and women. They can begin wearing jewelry, adult clothing, and are expected to act grown. Despite some of them clocking in as young as 13, the day before and of the event is usually a talking point among social circles. Wouldn't it be uncommon to invite extended loved ones the day before to eat and catch up with distant relatives? It's also seen as a way to hold back the urges of puberty and lust until marriage. For us, an unusual practice, but for them, a day of celebration. The last event being that of wealth. When becoming rich or successful in life, it's customary to give back to the ones who've helped you along your way, usually in the form of a gift. Close friends, parents, mentors, and so on are usually the people who would receive them. This is so deeply entrenched into Nadon culture. The lack of a gift can destroy relationships and bonds built over a decade. A perfect example of this is the chaos of the Riften rebels, the men of Central, East, and West, or CAW for short. After capital fell on 55 NC, there was a disagreement among them. Timur, the head of the rebellion, wanted to, as he saw it, finish the war. The last holdout of Riften, May, was still alive. He refused to accept or give any gifts until he knew she was dead. This was a direct insult to many who had fought side by side with him from the beginning. Years. Within a year, the alliance of Central, East, and West would collapse, and the war with the Forgotten Throne would begin right after. Timur would spend the next 2 years reuniting the land under his banner, partly due to perceived insults from cultural upbringings. We have so many ways of showing intent and symbols of power. What do you do when someone has annoyed you? No, when someone has pissed you off, you give them the third finger salute. They, just like you, seek to express themselves. One such way, a fast single clap raising above your head, is the most poignant and direct way to tell someone to go fuck themselves. With this gesture, you can almost certainly expect a fight soon after. The opposite of this, however, showing grand levels of love, is to interlock your hands with another. Normally done between partners, but certainly has been done with lovers, I'm sure. If two men were seen doing this, it wouldn't be weird because they're gay. Homosexuality is neither condemned nor praised. Many powerful men participate in the act. It's more odd because this act is to be done between partners, a man and a woman. It has the same status as if two non-married lovers were doing the same. Simply inappropriate. On the visual side of things, with the Navni at least, 3 circles or 3 lines are generally considered a symbol of unity, friendship, and connection within the core lands. It represents the 3 major cities, Mayan, Aieo, and Capital. Hence why the river's flag had 3 half moons. Unity. One thing that unites all Nadon people are the walls. There is only one wall in which can be inferred in this manner. The walls of Euro, a true wonder of this world. It's said after agriculture and their way of thinking, Rif bestowed upon the world Euro, the very embodiment of their grandeur. Standing atop of it, it's hard to imagine how anyone can come close. Their aesthetics, such as clothing and dresswear, comes in many shapes and sizes. But among all groups is the presence of robes and togas. Togas are the symbol of power and control, while jewelry symbolizes wealth among the Nadon. The last thing I would like to discuss today is the concept of lidors. I have mentioned it quite a lot throughout my readings, but what the hell is a lidor? Besides its title and position, is a proclamation. It is stating on the most fundamental level that I am the most powerful. No one comes close to my power, and all those who do must submit. There can only be one lidor in a given region. Hell, in a given known world. Why did the kingdoms of Mayan and Ohun continuously fight for close to 20 years? Besides the respective leaders' innate hatred of each other, they both claim to be lidor. Thus one must be destroyed. Why did the kingdoms of Eresasan and Western Lakes avoid this? Eresasan is controlled by the Yadayan people. They have zero interest in claiming some Nadon title they didn't even really care about to begin with. The Western Lakes had altered the meaning of lidor long ago, before the Riften Civil War. Phrases such as Lidorn a Lidor shared by two, or Shigeru Lidor, a single Lidor but limited in power, had long since altered the way people see their ruling lords. Among the Nadon people, the Western Lakes were seen as closer to cousins than brothers and sisters. Some would even go as far to say sophisticated barbarians. The title of Lidor is the man who rules the world. As you've seen, the Nadon people are beautiful, ugly, helping, and hateful in nature. They don't all think alike, or act alike, but have a common upbringing that guides them together. Hey everybody, welcome back. I am so excited working on this video. I, in fact, loved it so much that while editing this video, I put my hand in an arm brace. Yeah. Edited it so long, literally ended up injuring myself. I really do enjoy coming back to this world and talking to you guys. So, what's coming down the pipeline? I'm going to be introducing some quickies, as I like to call them, as these videos take a long time to make. So I'm thinking, how do I give regular content to you guys? So like a video about the history between Otmir the second and Timur the first. There's not a second, but who knows? History. Then I was thinking about an area of the Lost Regions, a video about the Lost Regions. Really, that's like a prep video for the Western Lakes. The Lost Region, if you don't know, is the area between the Western Lakes and the Core Lands. Just kind of like a little quick history video, nothing too big, probably about like 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, something like that. And then after the Lost Region, we are going to finally have the Western Lakes video. I have been working on that and talking about it for God knows how long, which he does because it's on the internet. The Western Lakes video is going to be kind of like my next big installment. The Western areas aren't really that explored that much. I have so much history and so many things going on about that area that I'm super excited to show you guys all the new characters. In fact, I love this area more than the Core Lands because I feel as though it has more detail as to what's actually going on. And then finally we have, yeah, looking out for you guys, the Vivison Civil War Part 2. Yep, I'm either going to be a two-parter or a three-parter, so look out for those videos. I'm going to be starting a Discord. I want to have a central place where everybody of Istorina can unite and talk about what they love about it, you know, like favorite characters, things like that. Explore new avenues. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you've liked what you've seen, which I assume you have because you're at the end of the video, and thumbs up so I know how much you fucking like it. Until then guys, goodbye, and I'll see you guys in the next video.